Hi everyone, it's me again. We've been using profiling tools for many years now. And recently we met a company called Pulsify that put a totally different slant on profiling. So today, we've got with me Pete. Pete is the co-founder of Pulsify. Hi Pete.
Hi John, thanks for having me here.
How's life?
Good, great.
Okay, so Pulsify is this really cool tool, and I'm gonna let Pete do the talking. Pete, tell us a little bit about your company.
So Pulsify is a new age profiling tool. Pulsify is one of the few companies in the world, or if not the only,
Right.
company that sort of pulls in all this data and tries to make sense of it, and what we call it is a multi-dimensional approach to understanding people.
Right. So let me get this straight. Because we've been using profiling tools, like I said, for many years. And profiling tools have always been useful to sort of predict personality, predict behavior, and so on and so forth. But it's usually from the psychometric perspective. So here we've got Pulsify, who claims to be able to bring multi-dimensions into psychometrics, into profiling. Is that right?
Well, it's not just
how does that
psychometrics.
work?
Psychometrics is part of the framework that we have. So I've been an entrepreneur for many years, and essentially I've always believed that great people make great organizations.
Right.
I believe most CEOs believe that as well.
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to hire good or great people. Bad and average is not good enough. And essentially I've had tons of issues with hiring the right people, knowing how to develop them and all that.
Don't we all, right? Don't we all?
And again, that is really the goal of every organization, and people are the number one asset.
Hiring right.
That's right. However, when we had issues in my different companies regarding people, I sort of started interviewing multiple CEOs. I found out a lot of CEOs had similar issues with people, hiring the right people, keeping the right people. And I also started interviewing quite a number of CHROs.
Right.
And there was a big thing that dawned upon me in all these conversations. In all these conversations, the basic realization was that when everybody was talking about good or great people,
Right.
a lot of them would be using words like passionate, team player, leadership potential,
Right.
psychometrics,
Right.
And everybody was looking for those qualities,
Right.
But when we went out to the market and talked to CHROs, we then realized a huge gap.
Right.
And that huge gap was that if I'm looking at hiring somebody, for example, I'm looking at tons and tons of CVs, right? Not that CVs are not important.
Sure.
CVs are important. Skills are important,
Sure.
right? But the realization that was that everybody, while they were looking at CVs, were actually looking for soft skills, right?
Personalities.
Precisely, right? And in the process, very few of them did holistically look at all these facets of people, right? It's just CVs.
So we sort of try to guess the person's personality from the CV, from the resume, right?
Precisely, which is almost impossible,
Right.
I mean, CVs essentially are a set of skills,
Sure.
right? So everybody's looking for soft traits, everybody's looking at hard skills. 95% of people are filtered out because they are qualified based on skills, right? And on personal experience, there are some people who I've brought in who had no relevant experience but became rock stars in my organizations, right?
So Pulsify fixed this?
So Pulsify doesn't fix this. Pulsify is the only company that takes all these data points together to be able to say, okay, how does this person fit the role?
And what kind of data points are we talking about here?
So the basic data points of our framework are actually hard skills and soft skills. Right? With hard skills, you're talking about your work experience, the jobs that you have performed, things you've learned through training, your educational background. And soft skills, our framework breaks it down into psychometrics. We understand the person's personality. We map core values. We map the person's work interests. We found out a lot of people are not in their perfect job. And stuff like that. And a whole host of other data.
At this point in time, some of you are thinking, yeah, big deal, I can do that myself. Now, here's the beautiful part. From what I understand, this is not done through manual sorting.
No, this is all done via AI, right? Or pulling in big data, understanding that big data, putting it in different frameworks.
Brilliant.
And trying to see how those frameworks map out to understand a person for a job, to be a right team player, who should he work with, who complements their personality and character and stuff like
Wow.
that.
So we're saying that at the click of a button, you get so many data points that helps you immediately, or for lack of a better word, eliminate or screen out, shall we say? Screen out the ones that are not suitable.
Potentially screen out, but if you look at it, it's actually we use a ranking system, right? And it's like a computer game in that sense, right? You're playing Championship Manager, there are thousands of players.
Right.
You want to field this person in this position.
Right.
There are these 680 players out there in the market.
Who's the top 10?
Who's the top 10,
50?
right? And you may want to talk to them to find out again in more detail the fit.
Right.
Or you may want to use this data to validate your gut feel on that
Absolutely.
person.
So I can think of a lot of HR managers who are going to be really happy with this, right? Because think of the number of man hours it's going to cut down. If you could just click on the button and get all those data points and each person ranked in terms of their suitability with the job. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I'm also, from a learning perspective, I'm seeing huge potential here in the learning sphere.
Yes.
So you're talking about the HR sphere, the recruitment sphere, and you know, no-brainer.
Yes.
You cut out so much work. My background is in learning and development.
Yes.
I would guess, or I would assume that there are countless ways that we can use a tool like that. So we can potentially identify the DNA of the organization. Who are the top performers in the organization?
Yes.
What kind of personality that they have, what kind of experience they have, the background, and so on and so forth, all via big data and AI, right?
Yes.
And therefore, when we hire, we can hire the exact kind of personality who would succeed in our organization. Would that be possible?
Yes. So to that, I'd actually just like to highlight that it's a very disruptive world out there, right?
It is.
Almost every industry is being disrupted.
Right.
And in the midst of this disruption, I think there are two things that are happening. One is that the world is changing very fast. Companies, if they can't catch up, will fall behind, right? We've seen a lot of that happen globally as well.
Yes.
And the role of jobs are also evolving, right? And people need to evolve into those jobs. And companies also need to create new roles to be able to be competitive as
Absolutely.
well, right? And in that sense, I think the key is really what data points do we have to make these decisions, right? Can AI actually potentially predict what could be the potential of this person in 5 years? What are his strengths and development areas, right? What are skills he needs to learn? What jobs he needs to be in the next 3 years to be able to reach that potential in the next 5 years?
Right.
And what personality gaps does he have, for example, that needs training on to be able to facilitate him going to the next role?
Right.
And I think the most critical question is, are HR people thinking about what kind of people do I need to bring in today to take my company to the next level?
Right.
Not just filling seats, right? I think the role of HR is, frankly, I there's a running joke, right? The running joke is that some HR people are admin jockeys. And I think looking at the way data and all that evolves industries or departments. I've seen that in marketing divisions. Today, now there are a whole host of evolution of how the marketing department works, right? I see that happening in HR. And if you look at what's happening, or what's happened with the marketing industry, people who use data essentially transition into a much more strategic role than an administrative role, right?
That makes sense.
And it's guys like us that try to facilitate that, that move from churning 300 CVs and looking at 300 CVs to evaluating really who's the best person, for example, right? Or what do I do with this 100 people? What training do they need? Where are the largest gaps within these teams? And exactly what do I do to get them to the next level?
So we're taking a lot of the guesswork out of the learning industry and saying, so a sniper approach rather than a shotgun approach would be how I'm seeing it right
Yes. Traditionally, if you look at training, right? Companies say, okay, we think we've got this gap in the company, we'll call in the best trainers,
Right.
and they'll call in this entire division or teams of people to be trained, right? The reality is, for each session, maybe only half these people need to be trained because half of them could have competencies in that area, right? I think that's where, if we're able to pull in training history, if we're able to profile the needs of these people, the approach is exactly what you're talking about. It's a sniper approach, right? Exactly what do we want to achieve with our people? What skills do we need to train them in? Who exactly has greatness in that area so that we can really bring them up to their potential for greatness?
Very cool.
Who are weak in this area? Maybe it's even a different kind of training to get them to at least be competent, and it doesn't destroy them because of their weakness.
Very cool.
So it's very strategic based on data. Instead of, I hope, I guess.
Let's try.
We actually did find a lot of HR folks that truly believed in psychometric tests, for example. And to everybody that we talked to, nobody has deployed psychometric tests for everybody. And generally it's been because it's too expensive.
Well, cost,
Right? And the reality is a lot of people lose out on opportunities. Number one, companies losing out opportunities on great people based on psychometrics because they use the CV only today. Right? And also even internally. So some companies who believe in psychometrics don't even profile the entire company because it's too expensive. It's only senior leadership teams and all that. Right? So we have a business model that we believe that is much more cost efficient. It's real time. The data grows. We want to do real time monitoring of people and stuff like that as well.
And it gets more and more accurate the more we use it.
Well, that's the entire concept
premise,
of machine learning.
That's machine learning.
Yes. So we may rank 100 people. You may choose number 10 in that rank. You may put in some comments of why you're choosing number 10. And again, based on your comments and based on your choices, the AI starts learning. Right.
Kind of scary. Pete, what I'm thinking of right now is from our perspective, the learning perspective. And I would assume that this tool would then allow us, people like me, which is why I'm partnering with you, to be more targeted in the training that we do. So that when we, for example, helping organizations identify high potentials, using your tool to screen out and be really sure that the pool that they ultimately end up with are really and truly high potentials. We can't do that, right?
Yes.
Because we're not just relying, traditionally, it's interviews, KPIs, and if your boss likes you.
Yes.
So
there's a lot of biasness.
There's a lot of biasness. This would help cut that out. How would we use? We would be able to identify a group of high potentials using this, right?
Yes. How does a company typically approach high potentials or management trainees, which are high potentials for the future, right? It's usually been from results, KPIs, performance. It's usually been based on I like you, right? And that's actually or I like you because you are like me, right? And that's actually a double-edged sword, right? If a team has got a lot of people,
too many similarities
of the similar concept, we've got no diversity, and it doesn't work, right? Actually, if we have a concept of hiring based on gaps, right? So you want to build this project team, you want to pull people, a team of Avengers with different skills and different mindsets, so they can think about it differently and approach it differently and succeed, right? It's very difficult for humans to do that, actually, right? Because typically you gravitate to somebody similar, but actually the person that may complement me the most is somebody that's totally opposite, right? Yes. So in that sense, what you need is data, right? You need data of what skills you need to fill that team, what kind of people you put together that have different diverse mindsets. And when we talk about high potentials, typically not every bad performer is doing it because they're just a bad performer.
Nobody intentionally wants to be a bad performer.
Precisely. And for that matter, they could even be in the wrong job or work with the wrong person, and that's why they're not a high performer.
Right.
So I think data can solve a lot of this.
Very cool.
Unbiasedly, right?
Yes.
And in that sense, it's not just a group of high potentials. It's you want this business goal.
Right.
Who are the best people and high potential people with this mindset to be able to handle this?
So Pulsify would be able to give you the raw ingredients, which we would then take and refine into the team of Avengers.
Yes, that's right.
Help facilitate the common goals, help facilitate the skill sets that would be complementary, ensure that the Avengers don't end up killing one another. The set of rules, and by doing so, create a refined product out of really high quality raw ingredients.
Yes. And all sorts of data sources, including performance data and stuff like that as well.
Yes, I think that's really cool, because a lot of times we end up trying to do our best with team members that don't necessarily meet the cut, right? But since they're already in there, you've got to make the best of it. So what I'm hearing is that we could essentially ensure that the team members are there because they are supposed to be there.
Yes.
Right?
And if you can, to qualify exactly
and
why.
To qualify why.
Right?
Very cool. So, endless possibilities. The world is our oyster at this point in time. Just listening to Pete blows my mind about what we could potentially do with so much data in the HR sphere. And not just HR, but in the social sphere. Understanding a person, understanding a person's strengths, weaknesses, understanding the person's potential, and being able to qualify that. I think that's really, really brilliant. If you'd like to know more, call us. Let's have a chat. Let's explore possibilities together.